with Bobby Allison, NASCAR legend, Bassmasters with Rowdy.com. Before we get started talking about racing, talk to me about the sock exchange. You're here for that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is really a neat deal. For $10 a year, you can get on board and buy stuff and sell stuff and trade stuff and even auction stuff. And it's just a great way to get out there into the NASCAR world.
Well, certainly memorabilia and stuff is great for NASCAR fans. We're here at the Coca-Cola 600. I got to ask you just about memories of this racetrack and specifically this race. 600 miles, used to run it in the heat of the day. Must have been a hell of a lot of work for a race car driver.
I won this race one time. When I pulled into victory lane, my feet were burned so bad I could not stand up. So they had to sit me on the thing in victory lane to give all the trophies and everything.
A lot of people like to hear the story of the 1979 Daytona 500 and everything that transpired in that race. What was that like for you, that big race?
Well, I had gotten involved in a spin out early in the race with Donnie and Cale. The three of us spun down into the mud on the back straightaway. It had rained the night before, and so it was muddy. And I had lost 2 laps, and I wasn't running good enough that day to make them up, where Donnie and Cale both made their laps back up. But Donnie was faster than Cale, and then, of course, Cale crashed him on the last lap. And so I had to pass the wreckage, but Donnie was climbing out of his car so I could see he wasn't hurt bad. And I went ahead and finished the race, which was my job, got the checker, came back around and stopped at the scene. And the 2 guys were probably 50, 75 feet apart, with each one with a couple safety workers around them. So I stopped in Donnie's vicinity more than Cale's and hollered, did Donnie want to ride back to the garage area? He's all disgusted. Nah, go on, I'll get a ride. With that, Cale started saying the wreck was my fault. And I'm afraid I questioned his ancestry, which I shouldn't have done. And Cale was standing there with his helmet in his hand. He ran toward me, but I had heard Cale tell Buddy Baker he was going to beat him up, And now he was a little tough guy, and I wasn't a fighter, but I was kind of a wimp, in fact. But at any rate, came running up and he stopped about 6 or 8 feet from the car and yelled some more. And I think I probably questioned his ancestry a little further, which I shouldn't have done. And Cale lunged at me and hit me in the face with his helmet, which surprised me. It hurt me, and it really rattled me. And I looked down, and blood was dripping in my lap. It cut my nose and my lip. My nose and lip were both bleeding, and a little. And I looked at it, and I said, I got to get out of this car right now and handle this, or run from him the rest of my life. So I got out of the car, and he went to beating on my fist with his nose. My story, and I'm sticking to it.
That was certainly a signature marquee race in the history of NASCAR. Yeah. You won the Daytona 500 3 times, I believe.
3 times.
Talk about those wins and maybe the best of those.
Well, okay. The best of those had to be 1988, where I was 50 years old. That was my 3rd win of the Daytona 500, and the best young man in racing was second to me, our son Davey. But due to the little incident at Pocono 4 months later, I do not remember 1988 still today.
Really?
They tell me I won the race, and they tell me I won Thursday and Saturday and Sunday. But what I remember is I did win the fishing contest in the infield lake on Wednesday.
That you remember?
Yeah. Okay, the championship season was a great season. I was with Dygard, and I had been with Rainier Racing, and we lost the championship right at the last race of the year. And then my first year with Dygard, we lost right at the end of the year. And, I was really kind of frustrated by that, because that was my 5th time that I had been second in the points in NASCAR, going all the way back to 1970. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, we got going. We crashed everything we had at Daytona to start the year off, and ended up with a backup car for the race there, but got a decent finish. But then we went on and we got some wins at some of the other tracks, Atlanta, Charlotte, the other places that we enjoyed running at, and had a good effort all year long, and came down to the last race, and the engine started running bad right at the start of the race, and really broke my heart. Here I was going to lose another one, and we had fuel starvation problem, and so Darrell Waltrip was going to win for the third year in a row. He was going to beat me, and way late in the race, he made Tim Richmond mad, and Tim sent him out in the Toolies, which made his finish bad enough that he didn't finish far enough ahead of me to win, so I won the championship. And it was a real thrill for me. And then when we got home, we found out that somebody had put sugar in our gas tank. And that's why the engine was running sour. So,
wow.
We always had bad feelings about that, but never had any proof, so we'll let that go at that. But we got that championship, and it was great for him.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.